Really?
Okay, so the biggest subject today we're going to talk about is parenting with only one parent in the home.
Right.
And I had suggested we call it single parenting, and you kind of said that's not accurate.
Well,
So let's talk about that part of it just for a minute, because there is a difference. So
Yeah.
explain the differences to me.
well, I do have friends who have been on their own from the get-go. They've had a baby and they've had no support in the home or financially, and they've done everything completely on their own. I am grateful to have not been in that situation. I do have a co-parent. He is very helpful with them, and
You have some financial support.
I have
as well.
financial support, and he spends time with them. So, I mean, that definitely is a different situation than being a single mother.
So we're going to call this co-parenting. then.
Yeah, I guess so.
The parents aren't living in the home together.
Yeah.
But they're both helping. So you do get some alone time because the co-parent is taking his turn on this.
Right.
But all the other times you're in the home alone
Right.
with the child, raising them, feeding them, getting them to bed, getting them to school, getting them to all their events.
Exactly.
How do you do all of that in a
Oh my
day
gosh.
now without that person there with you 24/7?
Yeah, sometimes I don't know how I get it all done, and I do. I work at home as well, and so it seems like there's always something. Kind of feels like I fall down on the job here or there at some point, but everything does manage to get done, and then I do it all over again. So, yeah.
Do you find that you just have learned how to not stress over the small things?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I used to be a little bit more meticulous with like my home and my
Laundry.
laundry.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't get put away anymore, if I'm being honest. And yeah, so I ease up on myself and my own expectations. And
That's actually a good thing, because you could be doing that and actually internalizing that and then beating yourself up about that because the standard of whatever it was you felt you needed to be met can't be met anymore.
Yes.
Because the time is a huge factor.
yes, and I had really high standards for work as well, and I've actually pared them back. I used to be more of a 24/7 employee, or I work for myself, but I used to be always on 24/7, and I've had to learn to pare that back a little bit as well. And so change those expectations of myself and being, so meticulous with work. So with the kids, I always make sure that they're top priority. So if anyone is put on the back burner, it's anyone but them.
Right.
Yeah, I have friends who I haven't seen in a couple months, but they understand, and
Well, and I think that's the thing. It's so prevalent in our society for people to be one parent trying to get too many things done in a day. And so, and I don't have that situation. It's always been my biggest fear. And we talked about that earlier, right? I think that is, I don't know about everybody, and I don't want to assume for everybody, but you were mentioning that this was the one thing that really made it hard for you to decide if this is what the avenue you wanted to take.
Exactly.
Because of the fear. So try to explain that to me a little bit.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think growing up with a single parent, my biggest fear was to be that way. First, because I had been through it myself, but then second of all, because I wasn't the one leaning more towards having children. It was actually my partner who wanted to have kids quite a bit more. And once I had them, I absolutely loved my role. But I always felt like, I don't know what I would do if I ever had to do this all on my own.
Right.
And eventually I had to make that choice for the family. I had to make that decision, even though it was my biggest fear.
Right.
And I initiated it, and I do feel like I was able to conquer that, and all the worst things that I thought would happen didn't happen. And I actually feel very empowered by being able to make that decision. And
you made this decision for the whole of you and the kids.
Absolutely.
So I guess when you do that, I mean, I'm not in your situation, so I've never felt the need that I need to get out of this relationship because it's not healthy for me and or the kids. So help us understand that without, I don't want you to go into a lot of detail because it's all personal, but help us understand what that journey was like for you and what processes went through your head and what questions and how do you dealt with the kids and so on.
Well, actually, my biggest concern was giving them the best life possible. That's what every parent wants to do.
Yeah.
And in my mind, that was having two parents. So I worked on that as long as I possibly could and keeping our family together because I thought that was the best thing for them. And I thought, if 98% of our life is perfect and we got to go on vacations and we have our dream home and we're all together as a family unit, you know, it has to be worth this 2% of negative in our lives that I can overlook. And eventually I realized I can't do that, and that actually isn't the best situation for us. So it took a lot of time to make that decision, but eventually I was able to do it. And I'm glad that I did. But if anyone procrastinated and took a long time in deciding, it was me. But at least I knew I had a well thought out decision. And
That is true.
Yeah.
But do you feel this negativity was also affecting the children?
I do, yeah. Yeah, I do feel like in general we're in a much more positive place, and it is they're getting used to their new normal.
They're new normal.
Yeah, and it's a better situation for all of us.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I know. I mean, I knew you before
Yes.
the separation. I mean, we had spent a little bit of time together, and I'm actually seeing the difference between then and there. And I don't know you
Really?
well, but I'm seeing this woman who actually stands with her back straight and your head held high, and you don't think that you've got all the answers, but you have a self-assuredness that I don't think I saw before. You were very good at your job. I mean, you and I would discuss our jobs, right? And now I'm seeing this. I'm looking for the right word. I'm seeing this confidence that wasn't there before.
I really appreciate that, because
No,
you're
I'm
actually
serious.
not the first person to mention it, and I'm so floored. I mean, I don't feel that different, but yeah, if
But you
people
have
from the
to-
outside notice, then that's
Well,
a
here's
really
the thing.
good
The
thing.
fact that you actually took that step meant you had to have enough confidence to do it.
Right.
Terrifying, heart beating, in your chest, I'm sure, for all the months you were thinking about it. But that you took that step, and you took that step for your well-being, for the well-being of the kids, shows that you have confidence. And it's just going to exude from there. So that's just great for the kids to see, right? I mean, we don't want to get into the reasons why you're not together. But you truly, honestly believed that it wasn't a healthy environment for you and the kids. And that's where that confidence comes from, because you actually stepped out and did that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
It was a really big decision. And actually, I didn't mention this before, but one of the most important things that helped me was that I knew that I had this village and community of support around me.
Awesome.
So in one way, now I might not get to see my friends as much, but I came from moving to a town 10 years ago where I didn't know anyone, and I didn't have any friends, and I felt very isolated for a very long time, and like I couldn't make the decisions that I needed to make, to being surrounded by a community and village that supported me, and I knew they were able to empower me with what I needed to do.
Oh, that's awesome. So do you have a support group for co-parenting moms? Because I'm not calling it single moms. Do you have a group or anything that you guys actually have?
I don't actually. Most of my friends are actually all married still, and with little ones. It's just I feel like the community support is there. A lot of us have husbands who are traveling or husbands who work all the time, and that's the category that I fell in before. I was on my own quite a bit of the time anyway, but if someone needed Tylenol, you drop off Tylenol. If someone needed a box of diapers, you drop off a box of diapers. If your car battery was dead, I had a friend once take my son to school, and that was even before I was separated.
Right.
And so once I had that community in place, I knew that I could do it as a single mom too, because I still had those same friends. So that was really important.
So would that be your advice to anybody right now who's thinking that the relationship they're in is unhealthy for them and their children, that they actually start building community?
Yes.
If they haven't already?
I think that support system doesn't have to be something formal, because I know myself, I wouldn't have been one to go to a formal group, but the fact that I built these amazing friendships of women that I could call on at any time for even the silliest simple things, like I need a dozen eggs, and I know that someone would help out.
Right.
That made all the difference. And I don't think you need, 20 friends. I mean, just a few good friends.
That's true.
And moms who, we need to support each other. And
Those people who say, you call me for anything, and they mean it.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Take advantage of that and build on that, and show yourself as a good friend as well, in the same way that you reach out and do things for people when they need help.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If you're struggling in a relationship and you're trying to figure out whether or not you need to stay in that relationship or not, please reach out. Hopefully other people who will see your comments will be able to also give you some advice, because that's the only way we're going to survive parenting, is to actually be the type of community that Melissa was actually talking about, and help each other. And if your comments will help just one person, it's all worth it. As always, we want to wish you an awesome day.